From healing to high performance, this is the Warriors Ascent podcast. This episode is brought to you by Torch AI, unlocking human potential.
Well, all right. Welcome to the Warriors Ascent podcast with your host, Mike. Matt can't be here. He's on business representing Warriors Ascent in fine fashion, so he'll be here next time. So I'll have to hold down the fort without him. But I've got two special guests, in the spirit of what I've said in earlier episodes is strategic partners, facilitators, supporters, people that make Warriors Ascent possible. I've got two great examples of that. Two of our alumni and then also mentors. So Brett and Seth, I like to say our mentors, exemplars of what right looks like. So just as a reminder, they are people that have gone through the program, have executed well, have taken what it is that they've learned at the Warriors Ascent program and then applied it to their lives. And they've come back. We are now still at our 2-day cohort, and they've come back as mentors for that cohort for the 12 men that we're helping get on the path to healing. So, we appreciate their efforts. I like to say our mentors really are the special sauce. Our curriculum's great, evidence-based, backed by science. But it's really, I think, the mentors that hold space for our students, but then also are willing to share, what it is of the program that helped them, how it is they applied it to their lives, or even, quite frankly, maybe some of the setbacks in setting realistic expectations that even after Warriors Ascent, your life's not a cloudless sky. You're going to be faced with, setbacks and pitfalls, but you just need to overcome those. So without further ado, I'll let our two participants speak for themselves. I'll introduce them, and then they can tell their stories, what brought them to Warriors Ascent, what it is that they learned with us, how it is that they've applied it to their lives, and then also, any advice they might have for those listening to the podcast that have not come to us that might choose to avail themselves of what it is that we do. So I'll start with Seth. Seth, tell us about you, your background, what brought you to Warriors Ascent.
So some of my background is I started with the state of Missouri and started working with Department of Mental Health, specifically working with the criminally insane. And so that was an adventure all in of itself, dealing with people that were living day to day with a lot of challenges and heavily detached from reality. While I was working for Department of Mental Health, I got married, had my first child, and a couple years into working there at the hospital, I thought, hey, why don't I become a nurse? A nurse was something that I had always kind of had interest in later in my life, and it was something that I thought I'd pursue in nursing. Well, while working full-time, going through nursing school, supporting my wife and my daughter daughter had a medical emergency on one of our vacations where she did pass away, which kind of changed a lot of my gears. It changed a lot of my outlook, my perspective on people in general, and especially on how other people's problems were directly affecting me. I left nursing school because I wasn't about to start a pediatric rotation after losing my daughter. And then shortly after I withdrew, I was assaulted there at the mental hospital. So I thought, well, what better place to go than to prison, where I started working for the Department of Corrections. And so I changed my atmosphere from the criminally insane to just the criminal in general, and living day to day with, and working in a profession like that, you feel like you're living with them. So you're living day to day with people that dehumanize you on a regular basis.
Yeah.
And so that became a part of me. It became normal to not carry that out to my family, to my friends. I forgot how to be human. I felt like I was in a state where the only two things I was allowed to show anybody anymore was either humor, which was dark humor, or was anger. My coworkers didn't want to see my sadness. I felt like my family didn't want to see me be afraid. And so that's all I showed was dark humor and a lot of anger.
Right.
As I changed positions through my agency, I was kind of voluntold to go to a training. They wanted to bring back a mindfulness training to my facility and maybe promote it more in my agency. And I was kind of, like I said, voluntold to go. So I show up and I'm feeling through this whole thing that I know the information, I don't need to be here. When the instructor had brought up Warriors Ascent, and the first thing that popped in my mind is, well, surely I'm not considered a first responder. We do. We put in my profession in corrections, we're first responders. We put out fires. We do first aid CPR. We keep people's lives together. We break up assaults.
Yep.
But the community doesn't always feel that way. So I sat there and said to myself, well, just push this out of my mind. I don't qualify. When an individual caught me out in the hall after telling a bit of my story and told me that I really needed to go, that they'd take me with open arms. So right after that, I had applied. When I applied, I was nervous and scared. I was trying to find every way out of it, and my work found a way out of it. A week before I was supposed to attend, due to some illness, I was asked to attend a training to bring back to our department that was going to conflict with my attendance at Warriors Ascent. And I took that as a sign as, hey, I don't need to go. About a year later, through some reconnecting with Warriors Ascent, I was invited back out. And for me, I believe that it happened at the perfect time of my life. It was cohort 37, and it was right before COVID. And that was attending Warriors Ascent at that time. If I would not have attended, I don't know where I would have been or if I would have even been. It was, I was sent on the road living out of hotels because of that limited contact. It was decided that was to help reduce some of that contact of bringing people in together. They sent me out. And so sitting in a hotel room with nothing but your thoughts kind of caused me to reflect a lot on those mindful moments and those healthy decisions. And those connections really helped me stay very connected with the present. And I mean, it's made miles of difference in my life. But the challenges that I continue to overcome is finding ways to incorporate it into my family life. I very much feel that I could not be successful if it wasn't for the support of my wife and the support of my children and them wanting to do some of those things with me. When we talk about meditating, the kids want to meditate with us. My wife wants to meditate. If it wasn't for their encouragement, I probably wouldn't meditate at all. Yoga, we did a lot of yoga challenges. The kids wanted to do that with us, some. My wife wanted to. A lot of the lifestyle changes I started making was because the whole family wanted to be involved. And for me, that's a lot of what Warriors Ascent was for me, is my family at Warriors Ascent encouraged me to make those good decisions. And because of that, my family that I live with every day picked up that encouragement also. And so I get it from both sides.
No, I appreciate that, man. No, thanks for sharing that, especially the family aspects, I think that, what do they call that? Modeling, right? Where you set a great example, with what it is that you've learned from us, and then your family follows suit. We've heard that a few times. I know Tasha Miller mentioned that. She's like, she says, my husband came back and he just was so peaceful and at peace. And I saw the example that he set, and she's like, oh, and I wanted that in my life. And he's a cop, and she was, first responder. So she subsequently came to us as well. So I'll say that's not uncommon. So, no, that's great. Brett.
Brett Butler, firefighter paramedic, was at the time that I ended up coming to Warriors Ascent. I had been working full time as firefighter paramedic probably around 16 years, but had been in fire EMS volunteer and part time for right around 20, 21 years of doing that. And the accumulation of calls, bad calls, and that kind of stuff starting to get to me. I was in administration, driving to work. Every day I was just kind of had a movie reel of all the calls. Drive by an area, I'd have that memory coming back. So that was eating with me. Plus my work schedule, I just was not around my family as much as what I wanted to. And then found out that I was going to have a third kid, and knew that that was not what I wanted to have with my newest kid coming. My daughter, I had missed enough with my other kids that I wasn't going to let that happen with her. So I went, kind of battled with that for a while, trying to figure out what I was going to do there. And then which just kind of spiraled the PTSD, all those flashbacks. And there was one night I was taking my kids to go meet with grandparents and stuff to go eat at a fast food restaurant, and drove by a location of one of the scenes that I just really never thought of, but it hit me really hard. And we were about a quarter mile away from the restaurant, pulled in, dropped them off, told my wife, can't do this right now, I'm out, and hopped in my truck and went driving. So at the time, I didn't think it was that big a deal. Looking back on it, I wasn't sure what that drive was going to look like. At that point in time, I reached out to a guy that I'd worked SWAT with as a SWAT medic for 13 years almost at that point. He was one of our team leaders on the SWAT team, Brian Russo, who is alumni of this program, and reached out to him because I knew that he could understand where I was at. And I didn't have a lot of people that I truly felt could understand where I was at. So reached out to him. We talked on the phone probably an hour at least. And then he got me in contact with Carrie Stewart, the yoga guru here. So that night, I spent about 45 minutes talking to Carrie on the phone, and came down through that, worked through that process with him, and ended up doing a voluntary demotion at my job to put me back on the 24-hour work shift, which worked better with having really young kids, but it didn't solve everything. And so stayed in contact with Brian, obviously, and he kept on encouraging me to go through. Carrie was encouraging me to come through the program. Basically, every time that Brian would bring it up, I'd say either, no, I'm not that bad, I'm good, I don't need it right now, or, yeah, I'll do it, but now's not the right time. Now's not the right time. And basically just trying to push it off so that maybe he would forget about it or get tired of trying to encourage me. So that's kind of where it was until December of that year. He contracted COVID and ended up dying on December 28th of COVID. So that was the second death within about 9 months of guys that I'd worked on SWAT with. So that hit me pretty hard too, along with everything else going on. So I decided in in honor of him, I was going to attend this program. So the night before his funeral, I actually filled out the paperwork, carried it with me at the funeral. Then the day of the funeral, I met you there.
Yeah.
And then Tammy actually had contacted me. She made sure it was okay to contact me on that day. She understood what was going on, but we made plans to go ahead and talk, and I got rostered that day, and about a month and a half later, I was here. So February 28th was first day of class for cohort 49. So
The mighty 49.
So that's kind of my journey of getting here. But yeah, and walked in and saw Kerry. So back in his long hair days.
That's right. That's right. No, I appreciate that, man. So let me ask this. We'll pivot a little bit. Obviously, I think you've shared, Seth, I know you have some of the tools, meditation, mindfulness. We can speak about that as well. But in your capacity as mentors, you guys have mentored a few times. What is it you like about it? I mean, I'll speak from my part, as the guy, as the executive director. Number one, I appreciate you. I mean, you guys are so instrumental in I'll say, administering it. Maybe, not necessarily the curriculum per se, other than you being able to share authentically, hey, this is how I've applied what it is that I learned to my life. I think that's powerful. But just holding space for these guys, sharing your story with them, helping us out logistically, of course. But, my hope is, and I think it's true, you obviously get something out of it as well. It's mostly giving on your part, but I think there's something to be said about A, paying it forward, B, seeing your great efforts, helping a new group of, alum, and then even just refamiliarizing yourselves with the program. But, tell us about what it is why is it that you mentor,
I'll go first.
You can go first.
I mentor a lot. A lot of the reason why I mentor kind of goes back to my first day of attending Warriors Ascent in general. I show up early because that's just me. It makes me a little anxious to be running late. And I knew if I was going to be here, dang it, I was going to be here early.
Right.
So I got here early. I walked in, and there was Kerry sitting at his computer, and we chit chat a little bit. I was kind of looking at him like, I wonder what his role is. Where did he come from? Didn't fall in love with the guru yet. But then shortly as we all started piling in, Tim and Ozzy showed up, and having him there, knowing that in the middle of the night I had somebody I could talk to. We took a few walks across the property. And just having somebody there that was there just for that reason, just to sit there and walk us through and be our friend, meant miles to me. He probably had a larger role in me staying than the staff themselves, because the staff were going through the motions. I felt loved and accepted when I walked in, but everybody had a part to play. Right. Whereas his part was 100% just to make sure I was okay, whether it was in the middle of the night and during the day, and that kind of meant the world to me. And so I kept coming back. I came to the graduations as often as I could. I mentored as often as I could because I hoped that somebody stayed because one of us were there to support them, no matter what time of day or night. They had somebody that they could talk to and could relate with them.
No, that's beautiful, man. So Tim Kirchhoff and Ozzy, his dog.
Yep.
So Tim has been a senior mentor. He's mentored quite some time, quite a few times, I should say. But you're right. He just has this demeanor about him, very older brotherly, and to your point, I mean, hey, the staff, professional, they care, but it's kind of, if I say ephemeral, they come, they go, they do their part, they administer their, their block of instruction, which they're experts at. But the continuity really resides with the mentors that stay for the duration. So while, they don't cater for the curricular, I'll say, I'll say the emotional continuity per se of the program, and them being there with you the entire time is, I think, absolutely critical. No, and it's interesting, and I love the fact that you're like, hey, I want to do for others what Tim did for me. And that's beautiful, man.
I mean, he's done a lot for a lot of us. And like I said, I couldn't speak highly enough for the staff, but just knowing 2 in the morning, I knew you'd be home sound asleep, carry wood, you'd answer my calls. But Tim, I knew that if I was sitting out on the porch, he'd be sitting there next to me. And that's what was a kind of a goal of mine as I showed up, is if somebody needed me, I was right there to be able to sit up on the stairs or walk outside with them immediately without having to wait.
Perfect.
And I had Tim also for mine, and then I had Mark Hannick. Yep. So we, Mark and I definitely, we had a few hikes, during my time here. We'd get up early in the morning and go hike, and that was definitely very beneficial for me. I started coming back doing some of the partial week mentoring, mainly because I had since this program had made my life so much better, I'd been encouraging other people, kind of continuing on what Brian had been doing, getting other people coming here, helping people find the same peace that I was finding. So had friends that were coming through, and so I would usually try and make it up here for either Thursday and Friday or Wednesday and Thursday, do those. And through that, I found not only that it was a great refresher for me to see some of this information, but I was able to do, like you were talking about, be that person that they could come and talk to, spend the evenings out there listening to their stories and truly giving them somewhere that they could talk through stuff and kind of process what they needed to try and have the best outcome from this program. So through those deals there, my benefit that I selfishly got out of it by being able to continue my journey at hopefully a little bit faster pace by being able to get re-exposed to it, but then also being there for those guys, building that camaraderie within myself and them, and also some of the other people by getting them in those groups and having those conversations. I really enjoyed that. It gave me a little more sense of purpose for my life outside of what I do, every third day. Got that nice schedule every third day. But this gave me something else to look forward to, and I really enjoyed the feeling that I got from that sense of purpose.
No, I appreciate that, man. We appreciate what you guys bring to the table, just paying it forward. Like I said, it's absolutely instrumental. So, and I'll say the closing moments or so, what do you feel now as, alum, guys that have been through the program, now guys that have, mentored a few times, you've kind of seen it kind of outside in, you've seen new crews come in and their transformation. What do you feel in your assessment is, dare I say, the special sauce? What is it that makes the program unique and effective from your optic? Sarah, we'll start with you.
For me, the special sauce that has always brought me back is knowing that no matter where I'm at in life, the second I step through those doors, I'm wanted, I belong, and I'm loved. And that is that's what keeps me coming back, is knowing that if I'm having a hard day or if I'm having a great day, it doesn't matter. When I walk in, I'm going to see the same smiles. And everybody wants me there because I belong. And that is a huge thing for me, because where else in your life do you walk in somewhere and immediately feel that, or feel that pulling into the parking lot?
Right.
It goes from, for me, the travel up went from fear to now every time I travel up, it builds on the excitement because of the people, the connections, but also that feeling I get every time I walk in.
No, I love it, brother. I appreciate that.
For me, similarly, the connections with the staff here and everything, but the biggest is building that brotherhood. 049, we're still at 2.5 years. The texting chain that we have still going strong. There's days that I'll end up with 20 plus text messages on that at 2.5 years, and so that's being able to have that where I also know that I can call up any of those guys and they'll be there for me. So building that brotherhood that we have, it was kind of the special sauce, I guess,
The brotherhood
for our cohort. So
no, that's great, man. So last thing I'd say is any advice for those that, like you at that one time, that maybe currently find themselves in the position that you found yourselves prior to coming to us? What would your words of advice be to them, Seth?
My biggest words of advice would be two things. Apply to attend. And if you have any doubts whatsoever, pick up the phone and call. Somebody will talk to you or get back to you, and they will show you that you're 100% worth every ounce of energy that everybody puts into it.
Appreciate that.
For me, there's a lot of people out there that I'm not that bad. Somebody else deserves this more than me.
We hear that a lot.
That, you're the only you though. So
That's right.
So put it in the application, get here, go through the program, and you'll benefit from it.
You are worth
what.
it. You are worth it. Absolutely. Guys, appreciate you as always.
No, thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Mike.
Absolutely. No, it's an honor. All right, guys. See you next episode.
Thanks for watching this episode of the Warriors Ascent podcast. We're in Kansas City helping veterans and first responders with PTS. Check us out at warriorsascent.org.